that is in a nutshell. So basically, we're going to just to go into a very short briefing and we'll discuss a few things. So my first question we're starting with, every answer is correct and just feel free. What is the difference between a male and a man? It's the computer. It's related to what? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Any ideas? They haven't mute the discussion. You might have to mute your discussion at the background. Okay. Any ideas? Yes.
I think male is a gender
Uh-huh.
or is explicit,
Mhm.
and I think a man it is now the embodiment of that when you take that responsibility
Yeah.
of male of a man.
No. Great. That sounds good. Any other ideas? The difference between a male and a man. Okay, great. So we'll take his. So I wanted to start with that, and very imperative. So you can answer that from different perspectives. The biology perspective, they'll tell you another perspective, psychology, philosophy, every angle. But as we're focusing today, a little bit of mental transformation, the psychological aspect, we'll look at a man has to do with the character, the behavior. That's from the side. And then the male is often the biological nature, the organs. That is a male. Now, we do have a lot of males around, and we've got very few men. That's where the question is of the discussion. So this is what I'll run through. We'll do look at the discovery, and then we'll look at development, distinguishing, deployment, and destiny. Now we're going to use the butterfly transformational cycle. I thought it was going to be good to look at our lives in the reflection of a butterfly, how it evolves. And it's very imperative to look at this transformation and what happens into your life. Now, if you look at what we have just said, the difference between a male and a man, it looks like it's the same person. But in between there, both of them, they are wearing suits, they look good. Now, you can get that definition from here, that Genesis there. God has an idea. He says, I want to create a man. But in the process, a male and a female comes out. So, but his initial idea is that I want to create a man. And out of this man is going to evolve a woman. A woman is going to come out. And as we are going through the presentation, you're going to see how that is very imperative. Because only in a man do you get real transformation. Everybody can be a male. It doesn't take much to be a male. Just be born. The time you were born, they say, oh, we got a boy here. Evolves, grows into a man. So, man, you can give birth to kids. You're still a male. You can hang around. You're still a male. But when you talk about a man and what comes out of a man, it's very imperative. I have a challenge, my brothers. The challenge is that the times we live in, we've got very few men. A man. We have a lot of males. Males that are educated, males that drive nice cars. We got a lot of males that can give birth to kids. But the challenge today, and the challenge is not that. And then I'll give you, as we go a little bit further, why we have arrived at what we have arrived at. The challenge is the inception, how we were born. Now, how we were born begins to define. You are born as a gift, you're born as a seed, but the question is, are you born in a very healthy family, a very healthy society, or is it a dysfunctional? That's where the imperative, the distinction between a male and a man begins to happen. Is right at the inception, right from birth. Now, we didn't choose where to be born. You saw the statistics. The past 2 weeks, they've been throwing up statistics. Last week, it was about 7,000 children in Namibia without fathers. This morning, they posted another one for Windhoek. 4,000 children without fathers. As somebody who works in both areas, I can go a bit deeper to explain to you why this is imperative. These numbers are imperative. As you are seated here, you might have come from a single mother's house. 70% of Namibia is single female-headed household. 70% of this country. So if you run into your street where you stay, begin to count the houses. Now, many times, as you have seen in the newspapers, the numbers, 70%, Namibian Statistics Agency, NSA, released that when they did the population. 70% of this country is female-headed household. And in that female-headed household, my brothers, there are boys growing up. And as we are going through this, you're going to see how imperative it is why we need men and men to be fathers. Because it's an evolving society. This is a very men-to-men discussion. It's going to be a bit hard. And this is where we're starting. Dysfunctional families. Broken society. And you're right, born into that. We don't have to go far. I can use my whole life. I've been here for 20 years. By birth, I'm Zambia. My mother marries this king. She's my father. And he ends up marrying 4 wives. And my mother, when I was 2 years old, she decided to leave the palace and take me along. So now I'm away from my father. And she also doesn't stay with me. She goes and abandons me at some village somewhere. Now, no father now, and no mother. And you can just imagine the dysfunctionality. That's me. That's right there. So this is where the problem starts. And as we're seated here, you begin to ask yourself, am I really a man? Or am I just a male? This is the discussion as men we begin to have. And it doesn't matter the background, how the egg has come into the surface. It doesn't matter. It's the decision as you are seated going forward, what you decide to do. And that's what is going to determine how we're going to transform Windhoek, Namibia, to family. Are we good, brothers? Are we all right? Good. Now, the egg has been coming to the surface. And after the egg is hatched, you develop, you are now born. By default, you didn't choose to be born, you're now here. Now you begin to move around. The purpose of the caterpillar, once it breaks from the egg, is one thing, is to eat, feed. That's the only reason that thing moves around. It breaks from the egg, and its job is to eat, because whatever it eats, what is going to become next. So it begins to go around. In your case, you begin to eat information from social media, from your friend, from your community, and you are busy feeding on that information, and we're going to see what's going to happen. So we have now already born from a dysfunctional family. Now you're going around feeding on, should I use dysfunctional, feed or food? So you're moving around, and what you are eating in terms of information, who you are listening to, what you are associating yourself is also not very healthy. Because now what you are eating, he that feeds you determines your destiny. What you feed on, brothers, determines who you become. It determines who you become. There's no shortcuts to life. What you listen to, what you read, 90% average person spends about 4 to 5 hours on social media every day. Now that's average. Some of you brothers are not really average. So if for 5 hours you're on social media and you're listening to garbage in, garbage outside, whatever you are paying attention to, you go on YouTube, from YouTube to go to Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, you're just everywhere. And indirect, your conscious, your sensory cells, they are feeding from your eyes to your ears, everything. So now, you're feeding on around you. There are certain things you're feeding unconsciously or consciously that are spiritual. You're feeding on some of them, they deal with your mental capacity. Some of them emotionally, physically, sexually, financially, and socially.
I'm good.
Thank you, sir. You might have to mute that one. We can hear you the other side. So, these are things you're feeding on. And what do you become then, brothers? What you need to evaluate what you feed on. It's very important. And now growing up, an old man says to me, Tony, you need to think about what you think about. Meaning, if you were to take your thoughts and put them on the table and begin to look at them, are they healthy? The thoughts. Think about what you think about. Reflect on yourself as a man. Because whatever you listen to on a daily basis, whatever you feed on, you can be different from what you eat. You cannot be different from what you eat. What you eat, brothers, is what you become. Mm-hmm. We're already disadvantaged from the families where we come from. There was no good fathers to train us, to mentor us. Now you are thrown into a deep society and you have to feed on certain things. Let's look at the second process. What you fed on now, this is what we call a midlife crisis. You have evolved. That is a cocoon. The interesting about the butterfly is that everything it needs, it's within itself. That cocoon, the caterpillar doesn't go into the street, gather things, and then create itself. That is the skin that is released from itself and it covers itself. So, what you see that's still a caterpillar, that thing. But now it comes from within the butterfly. Everything that you're going to be comes from within yourself. What you have feed on, remember the previous slide? It evolves and covers you. But at this stage of your life, it's the most deadly stage. Namibia is one of the highest in suicide in Africa. I serve on the suicide task force under the Ministry of Health. In Africa, Namibia is one of the highest in suicide. Because every man, when he reaches at this stage, this is a stage of separation. You either die, now you get lost, lonely, angry, because now you are separated. You come into your workspace, but in your mind, you're far from everybody else. Most men are cold. They go to their homes, to their wives, and the kids are running around and everybody's speaking. That literally they have been locked in there. The danger with these brothers is that once we are locked in here, this is where addictions develop. Alcoholic, because you are locked in there. You are around people, but you're literally locked into a certain world. The challenge, brothers, with this is that men, we love toys. So now, since I can't go outside, I bring my toys in. And the toys at this stage can be sex. And the toys at this stage can be alcohol, drugs. Anything that you used to do when you were a kid, now you're an adult, we can't play with toy guns and toy cars. We find other toys that we bring into the cocoon to keep us warm. Because this is a lonely place. And many men are in depression, anxiety, fear, and they're locked inside there. And they are sleeping next to their girlfriends, to their wives, and their girlfriends and their wives, they have no idea what is going on in the head of this guy. The guy is locked in. As a result, men die. This is a dangerous stage, brothers. This is a stage of separation. This is a time where you get broken, get vulnerable, isolated, separated. Reflection. Either your character is built at this stage, or you die, or the inner transformation. Because what is happening in the caterpillar there's something that is happening inside there. And all of us, some of you have reached that stage already, some of you are going to reach that stage. We're speaking to men about fatherhood and the challenges that comes with it. I have children. I remember when it happened to me. It was between 35. As I'm getting to my 40s, I look around and say, oh, my friends have succeeded. They have this and they have that. And you're busy reflecting and you are locked in. And you're ever around people, but you are lonely. You're next to the woman, but you're lonely. You make love and have sex, but you're lonely. Nothing fulfills you at this stage. It's a very lonely place. And every man got to get there. And you're busy asking yourself questions. This is where either men come out great or men die. When we see our brothers in gambling, alcohol addiction, some of them get locked in there and they never find a window to breathe or to walk out. What happened? You go in many, many places. You find today successful women doing well, and you go to many funerals and many weddings. You don't see men there. What happened to Uncle Willie, Uncle James? Every time he just comes to a wedding, to a funeral, he's drunk, beats up his wife. Things are not really going well. What happened? Something happened in that closet that many men we don't have voices for, and we have nobody to pour into. And we are here today. And you'll be like, Tony, how do I move forward? Now, you come out of there, this is a process. You begin to be transformed. Based on what you fed when you were a caterpillar, and then you get into a cocoon, that information transforms you. And you're going to be coming out. As a man, whatever has happened to you, whatever happened, whatever you feed on, now it's time. We see that there's a little bit of hope. I'm coming out. Look around. You're coming out of debt, coming out of gambling, coming out of addiction, coming out of the struggles. There's a bit of hope, there's a bit of light. So, you might have somebody, you might have a brother, you might have a sister who might have gone through these stages as men. Do you know at this stage, today, the society has also contributed to breaking men. You have been demonized. Every evil thing, they just say it's a man. Why? Because you were supposed to be a leader, even if it wasn't your fault. I'm closing up. I don't have many slides. Just wanted to, then we can share, discuss a few questions. At this stage, as you are coming out, you're looking better, you begin to manage your finances, you begin to look around, manage your kids. Things are begin to come back to normal. This one I'm about to say is not part of the slide, but I thought I should say it. My mentor looks at me and said, Tony, the time that you're headed for is going to be dangerous. I said, what do you mean, sir? I said, a man is a lion and he's a hunter. What happens the day the lion is being hunted by a springbok? Yeah. A man is a lion, a man is a hunter. What happens the day a springbok begins to hunt the lion? I said, okay. The lion will stand there. I said, come, let me. A man goes after a woman, proposes a woman, chases. You know, the times we used to grow up, I don't know your era, but the time we used to grow up, get a girl, it was very hard. So we used to hunt. So if you catch one, you'll be like, thank you, Jesus, I got one today. But today, they're going to hunt you. You don't have to go to the women. They'll come to you. Today they will hunt you. Sometimes they don't even care whether you're married. You can tell them 100 times, yeah, I'm married, but I don't care. And they say that's a danger. When the lion is hunted by a springbok. Because the moment you sit and enjoy, anything that happens afterward, you have to be blamed. All these numbers, you see children being born without fathers. Whatever happened, because you're a man, even if they came after you, brothers, when you decided to go in there, anything comes after, you carry the responsibility. Say, my mentor says, Tony, if you're going to be a coward at some point, run. Because you're going to be hunted. And once that is done, anything else, it's on your shoulders. Any woman go around. What happened to you? Mary hurt me. Children, what happened to you? My father left. Everybody accuses men for everything. Yes, and you can't escape it. Because it was your responsibility to lead in the first place. So what happens? There are certain things, brothers, they will be nice. You just look at them and say, that looks very nice, sister. Let me just keep walking. I don't want to touch. Because anything you touch, you bear the responsibility. 2 million men in Africa are in prison today. I also work several American prison board. 2 million men are in prison in Africa. Some of them for things they did not do. So be careful, brothers. It might look good, but don't touch. So when you're coming out, now it's a process, what we call deployment. Deployment is an army word where you have finished your training. Now you are sent out. You came from the cocoon. Now you are done. Whatever character has been built, you are so good. You have the knowledge of the direction. You got a vision to do. Now you have to be deployed. Now people are saying the process from manhood to fatherhood. That cocoon did not just leave you as a male. You have been transformed in your character, your mind, your emotion. You can be strong. You can be able to handle anything. Now you come out, brothers. And the process begins of deployment. You're going to be sent now to make a contribution to the society. Because you've been mentored, transformed. That's the process. You can now try to exercise to fly It wasn't just me crawling down there like a caterpillar. Now once you're done with the cocoon, you'll be like, guys, it's time to fly. I want to be on top of the game. You're being transformed. After you're transformed, you begin to soar into your responsibility, into what you do, destiny and purpose. So when you look at destiny and purpose, brothers, it's about character. To become a man is character. In my books, I talk about character a lot. 3 words for me. Character, when you say, I'm looking for a man of character. Number 1 is discipline. You're disciplined emotionally, you're disciplined financially. You're disciplined with the kids, you're disciplined with your family. You're disciplined in your studies, in any area of your development, you are disciplined. If you say today, I'm not going to go out and drink, you are disciplined. You make sure, hey buddies, no, not today. If you make sure this is the project I want to do in life, or emotionally somebody makes you angry, you are disciplined. Put it under control. That's a man of character, integrity. You are honest at work, at home, in the community. One of my daughters, second born, Miriam, so she lives with her auntie and she didn't see me for some time. And the auntie says, the father's coming. And she's doubting. She says, I don't believe it. I haven't seen him for a while. And the auntie says, I know your father. When he says something, he's going to do it. Before time I arrived, and the auntie began to tell me the story. Can people believe you're the man of your word? That once you say something, you stick to it and you want to do it. Whether it's painful, whatever it is, they want to make sure. Integrity, you keep your word. The challenge, we have no man that keeps their words today. Scared to do business with people. Because many people don't keep their word. Humility. Humility is the process where a man can be corrected, can apologize. A good man apologizes for a mistake, a great man corrects his mistakes. That's the difference. Humility. Only great people are humble because they are teachable. And then the process to become, you're a king, you're a priest, you're a prophet. I know they are religious words, but it's about leadership. Can your children, your family really believe in you, in your leadership? Can you care and nurture for them? Can the community trust you? That is the process from manhood to fatherhood. There's a cry as you're going out today in the community. There's a cry, brothers. They are looking for men, not male. Male. But it takes a lot to be a man. A man of integrity, a man of his word. You lead. In a closing, this is a closing out. Once you are done, now these are stages. There are men who just want to be a man and is a good man and he takes care. But there are men who says, before I die, can my family, my community know that I did exist? And it's a level of significance. It's not just that I had a male organ, I moved around, but I did something. I may not be the one on TV, in the newspapers, but somebody's going to come out and be there because I was here. Significance. Living beyond pleasure and become a man of purpose. Intention. This is the state, brothers. Building a legacy. Becoming your life more than sex, beer, alcohol, and cars and everything else, to really contribute something positive to your community, to your family, to your children. That is what we're becoming better as a man. challenged some of the challenges you're facing at the beginning. I don't have to go there. My last, a man beyond the male. I'm intentional. I'm disciplined. I'm humble. I'm loving. I'm kind. Be hard. Be better. Be simple. Be excellent. These are virtues a man has to carry. I create peace. Be an example. Productive. Wherever you are these things, when you look yourself in the mirror, that changes from just a male to a man. Pull yourself out. Imagine this is you. I've got bad news for you. Nobody's coming to help. Everybody is looking help from you. You gotta get out. We can't help those who don't want to help themselves. I can counsel you, I can motivate you, I can advise you. Once we're down here, you're by yourself. In your room, you're by yourself. I'm going to say hard words. 90% of people out there, they want from you more than they can give you. And make peace with that. You're not going to just leave waiting for handouts. You got to pull yourself out. We're going to show you the way, give you light, hope. But you need to find the way. You got to pull yourself out. It says, I'm getting out of this. I'm getting out of debt. I'm putting my life in order. I'm going to be a better man. I'll be different from what my father did. Find God. Find God. Give him peace, hope, love. That's my last. Your father that was never present, or he was present, didn't care for you. He taught you something in reverse. It means that he did negative so that you can do positive. Everything you saw from him or you didn't see from him, it's also a message to say you can take a different direction. You can be better than me. You can't just sit in and in a blame game. My father wasn't there, and then this and this, and I'm dysfunctional. Yes, we understand. But take that as a lesson to be a different father to your children. So, that is my submission. Be a better man, be a better father, find help, find healing. And understand the wounds. Understand the challenges. And that close here.